You're listening to and watching Emails Not Dead, brought to you by Cinch Mailgun.
Welcome to Emails Not Dead. My name is Eric, and with me, as always, is Jonathan. Hello, sir.
Hi, how's it going?
What up, man? We're here to talk to you and talk at you about just all things email. So it's been a little bit, and it feels weird because we actually don't even have a guest today. It's just kind of like a fireside chat. You know, we took a road trip. JT, man, like, where do we go? What do we do? What's going on?
Austin, Texas. It's like you say road trip. For me, that's not even a road trip. That's just like a long drive.
Boston, Texas?
Oh, so good.
You had to do it.
Austin, Massachusetts.
Austin, Massachusetts. Austin, Texas. Dude, Inbox Expo, man. Like, it was a good time. Yeah. Why were we there, Eric? Let people know why we're there.
Well, I mean, we went to MC the event, something that we've never done before, but really appreciate Scott from Email Industries, giving us the opportunity to be there and not only represent the podcast, but to introduce some great folks, some new friends I felt that we made, and ran into some old friends too. So I'm really glad that we got a chance to get out there and just, rub elbows, toss back a few beverages, eat some good food, and just like really, get into the nitty gritty of email and, just be back in the community. It was good.
Heck yeah. Thomas taught me the real reason boots exist, which is to wake everybody up at 9 o'clock in the morning to get ready for an expo event. By stomping the heel on the stage and just making my heel.
Yeah, at any moment I could, getting on stage. I'm so used to hosting like virtual events that I remember I was talking to someone the other day, and every time I do a webinar or whatever, I'm always asking, all right, where are you at? Where are you located? I remember asking people at 9 a.m., all right, where are you coming from? No one said anything.
Yeah.
So I just remember just pointing at people, I'm like, where are you from? People are like, oh, I gotta say something.
Yeah,
like,
it's wake up time.
I just remember like you pointing at somebody and they're going, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. Next,
I've been to, that's a great place.
Yeah.
Great town. Let us see to do in there.
Yeah, no, it was good, and I think we brought a lot of energy to it. So I'm hoping that we get to do something like that in the future, And I think it was just a good opportunity. Again, like we went to MOG, we went to what was it?
Email Evolution.
We missed out on a couple things, but man, it was good to get out there again, man. Like it was great to see some old friends, like I said, and of course, Texas had some good barbecue. Had some good tacos. I mean, tacos weren't as good as San Antonio tacos, but still.
Oh my god,
they were good enough. Good enough. As a former transplant of San Antonio, living in Austin now, they were very good.
I'm thinking
about them right now. Actually, hungry,
very serviceable. That's for sure.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fun thing about an event like that, and why I want to continue going to events like that, is that I feel like every day I'm out of place and out of sorts in my normal life outside of work, because I love email. And every time somebody starts talking about email, I'm like, I want to dive into the conversation, but I know I'll just look like a weirdo if I do it. And going to events like this, it's just so good to be around people who want to talk about email and want to, know and discuss and dive into those things, because, man, I feel like we all just live in it now. Like, it's just immersed. We're bathing in it constantly.
Yeah, man.
It's like email, like not to be a pun intended, but like it really is like a summer camp. Like when you you get to see everyone you haven't seen in a long time, and then like the sad part's like leaving. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna see you for like, we only get to see these people like maybe like once or twice a year. Luckily, if we like once, that that's amazing enough. But it's like, oh man, we got to say goodbye to people, and then not see them for a while. But we don't get to talk online or within our Slack groups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
dude, that's so funny, because even at the end when we were all leaving, like everybody's like, let's go take a quick picture, like let's go hang out real quick, or like, oh, are you going down? You're gonna hang out for a little bit, or oh, I got to catch a plane, or we got to head out.
Everybody signs a yearbook. Keep in touch.
Yeah.
Have a great summer.
Stay cool.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna start bringing that back.
Yeah.
We should.
Dude, that would actually be pretty dope if we had like a little flip book of like pictures of the event really quickly. Technology's come a long way. We could do a quick like Expo in review,
Next,
and
yeah,
Well,
next.
that's what we need to. That's what we need to start diving into. We're
Yeah.
just gonna ramble for
oh
like
yeah,
an
sorry.
hour.
But I will say that though, next person or conference or company that wants us to host something, like we're gonna bring the idea. Hey, let's have a little yearbook we can all sign before we leave.
I love it. I love it.
Have a great year. Like,
Yeah. Oh.
but speaking of those clips, Eric, do you want to set this one up? Who it is, and we can watch it.
Yeah. So in between sets, in between presentations, we were able to snag a few of the presenters. Not everybody that we wanted to, but definitely we got some good folks. Lou Fahini, Dr. Lou Little, she presented about training your email like a puppy. So she had some good points. So we were able to snag her real quick and do a quick interview with her, man. Let's go ahead and see that. My name is Eric Trinidad with Emails Not Dead here at Inbox Expo 2025 here in Austin, Texas. And here I have with me Lou Little, Dr. Lou Little, Lou Faney. Thank you so much. We had a great kind of show right now that you explained to us. Wanted to see, is this your first time at Inbox Expo?
Okay, so it's my first time at one of the events in the States. I've been going to some of the events in Europe for a few years. I've been to Amsterdam, I've been to Alicante, I've been to Valencia. So I was speaking in Amsterdam last year, but it's my first time at any of the US events.
Right on. And what's your favorite thing so far?
Oh God, where do I start? I feel like since I got to Austin, I've been playing American Bingo. So I got a photo with a yellow school bus, and I got a photo sitting in a fire truck. And I think my favorite thing about Austin has been yesterday I saw a real life raccoon running into a storm drain, and I was like, these things actually happen.
Yeah. Austin likes to keep it weird, so I'm glad it's living up to that expectation. So speaking about deliverability, you're explaining like how senders can, treat their lists like training a puppy. That's amazing. That's a great way to look at it. What do you think about the latest changes with Microsoft, like how that's affected sending and for marketers?
Okay, so I think so many marketers are lost since a lot of the new changes. And the problem is that nothing is being made clear to the marketers. So even when you've got marketers who are trying to do everything right and they're trying to do everything by the books, they're like, we don't know what it is that Microsoft wants from us. Yeah. And I mean, even with us, we sometimes have to look at things, and Microsoft makes changes so quickly that they don't get announced clearly, that we're suddenly like, okay, well, we need to keep up to date with this so that we can help our clients through it. So I think it would be fantastic if some of the the bigger hosts were to say, okay, look, this is what's happening. These are the changes. Here are step-by-step guides for how to make sure that you're complying with it, because I understand they're trying to weed out spammers and everything, but the problem is that the people who are actually trying to do everything correctly, they're the ones that are being affected and they're the ones that are being hit. So it's, and I mean, again, and it's one of the things that I mentioned in the presentation was that if you're unsure, reach out to a professional, because a lot of the time trying to navigate this yourself can be, if it's not your specific field of expertise, it can be really overwhelming and you can end up just screwing things up even more.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that we get some more clear direction and make it clear, just like you want to make it clear for people to unsubscribe, not get marked as spam. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of last thing here, what do you think as marketers and bulk email senders should be looking at concentrating on in 2025?
Okay, so one of the things that we constantly emphasize is when it comes to your mailing lists is accept the fact that sometimes we have to let people go. One of the things I talked about in the presentation was about with your dog, knowing when it's time to let go, that sometimes the kindest thing to do is to let them go. And you have to make it easy. To make it easy. We're so afraid to, whittle down our mailing list because we're like, it was so hard to get. But, sometimes it's the best and the kindest thing to do. And we need to make it easy for our clients. So that, and also making sure that your emails are properly verified, they're properly authenticated, and they're little things that so many people aren't aware of. They're just not doing, and you're really hurting yourself. Yeah. So you need to be kind to yourself, and you need to be kind to your subscribers as well, and make sure that everything is in place, everything is correct, and then let them go if you have to.
Yeah. I like how you also mentioned consent as well. Consent is king. That's a good not only thing to think about when getting your list, but just in life in general. So
unless it's an enthusiastic yes, then it's a no.
Yeah, absolutely. Lou, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Right on.
Hit it with the right on, of course.
It's always Eric with the right ons.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's such a good topic. Always is the confusion of email.
Yeah.
Ever evolving, ever changing, something's always happening. And she hit that right on the head, I believe. It's just, people get confused. I don't know anybody who's been able to navigate without some kind of help. And I mean, sometimes that help is us, sometimes it's outside consultants, sometimes it's an internal person who's trying to keep up with that stuff. But like, I think that's just like one of those things that you always got to do it. I think that's that's the whole basis, I think, for us, and what we're trying to do here is constantly trying to unravel and keep people informed about what's going on, because dang, it's hard. It's really hard.
No, for sure, dude. Like, it's always something that we try to figure out, and we lean on each other so much, not only internally, but like we reach out to like people in the industry as well and try to get clarity on a lot of things. And I think that's probably the best thing about the community is how we really do like just want to be better senders and want to make the internet a better place. And at least with the circles that we run with. So to have them kind of validate that and understand like, you can do it right, but of course it's always helpful to have clarity, you know?
Yeah, heck yeah.
It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. Swallow that pride, you know? Hey, I don't know. How hard is it to ask, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, right on. JT, man, who else did we run into, man?
Ooh, Travis Hazelwood, head of email deliverability at Orto. Man, one cool guy. I will say this, and I'm going to call him out if he ever hears this episode, because I wanted to say like nice shoes once again. He really just brought the drip.
He did.
I was
really did nice shoes.
Yeah, dude, he was dressed nice every day, and I loved his whole look, his whole vibe, as I'm sure you'll see a part of here. But he also had some really good things to say about email, so we'll leave it at that and go to the clip.
I made him walk all over East Austin with those shoes after one night, so I hope those shoes are doing good. But yeah, Travis Hazelwood, one of our collaborators that's been on Emo Camp, and we were happy to see him again. So let me get that queued up for y'all.
Yeah,
hit it.
Yo, Inbox Expo, here we are. Who are you?
Travis.
Just Travis.
Head of deliverability at Orto.
Orto, I like it. So we have a couple questions, really simple ones. So first one is, what do you think about Inbox Expo so far?
Dude, it has been almost too much good information so far, just each session. And even sometimes when there's two sessions going, I get so jealous of the other one.
Yeah.
But I have, even with all my 6 years of experience in email, I'm still like learning. I'm like just grooving with everyone. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff going on. There's definitely a lot of good information going on. Is this your first time Inbox Expo?
Oh, yeah. This is the first time. I've been seeing people talk about it for a couple of years now, so I'm very excited I'm here now.
Yeah, and what was your panel? Because I know you're on a panel. You already did it, right?
No, we're coming up next, actually. Yeah.
So what's the name of the panel?
So we're talking about deliverability, fact and fiction, really diving into the black box behind the spam filter stuff. And we got a lot of people from, me on the email marketing sending side, and then we've got someone from Yahoo. We've got a major block list person that's coming to represent. Talk about things from that side. It's gonna be crazy.
I mean, let's not get crazy. Deliverability can get a little crazy. It's not always. It's not always a crazy, but it's very good to know. You have to know and understand it. Yeah. And I mean, overall, like when we're looking at the deliverability stuff, and I know you're a big deliverability guy. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the newest stuff coming from Microsoft, how are you feeling about that? Like, any thoughts, any comments on it? Like, and what you're seeing so far?
I mean, I love that it's happening. Microsoft's implementation has been fun because some things are breaking, but once everything is kind of running smooth, it's exactly what senders need to be doing anyways. So that's really just helping them.
I'm glad you spoke about that, because I was definitely going to ask, when it comes to senders in 2025, I know Microsoft is a focus for it. What else is another focus that you would say, hey, you as a sender, what are you doing in 2025? This is what you should be doing in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, my focus is just helping people really focus on the relationship side in email. We just had a session where someone compared it to like training dogs and stuff like that, and it's really more of a psychology thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it really is about providing value to earn sort of the inconvenience. I mean, because marketing is sort of inconvenient. We don't want to think about it that way, but it is. So that's really what I'm focused on helping people with.
Yeah. So, and when it comes to that, when we're looking at senders and sender relationships, and I know that, that panel in particular was a lot about that, and it's good information. I think the thing that is the next point of sale in general, right? Not just externally, but also internally, is when it comes to the higher ups. you know, the people running the company, the people that want to see that huge ROI, like how do you sell them, like, hey, you need to be good at deliverability, you need to be paying attention to this stuff? Like anything in particular that you'd want to say to that crowd?
You know, sometimes, you know, you can definitely try to show them facts and surveys and reports, but, you know, sometimes what they have in mind is just going to trump all of that. And so sometimes you got to let it burn a little bit, but also I always suggest people do a little test.
Yeah.
Like ask for a little bit of like, you know, meet me in the middle here. Let me do a test. Let's see what performs better, what earns things. You know, at the end of the day, results are really what's going to move them. So, you know, that's the best way.
There you go. There you go. Like, look, this guy, the greatest. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, dude.
Oh man, love it. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like we're like an email like Glastonbury or Bonnaroo or Coachella. Like you got these people in the background just like living and vibing and stuff. And then you're like, "Did you go on yet?" And he's like, "No, I'm about to go on though."
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. Yeah, I mean it was really a lively crowd, and that hub room was pretty dope. Like just like everybody, like you said, was like vibing in there. And I think that was not too close to it, and we still heard everybody like really loud from there.
Well, I mean, you have the entire crowd there too, and it's like I feel like it's just like getting to talk to those rock stars of email. So it's like, those are the headliners right there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Travis is always a cool guy, and enjoys meeting him and talking with him. And man, I think outside of San Francisco, where did you run into Travis? Also, did you run into him at another event, Thomas? Or
oh no, we've had him on for email camp.
Yeah. And we first met him at MOG. So
in San Francisco.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what he has to say about all that stuff too. Like, I mean, those questions you're going to hear a lot as we keep going through these clips. We kind of try to keep the theme there, and knowing that that's one of the hot topics of 2025 and what's going on. So really enjoying how he's taking the perspective on it, just making sure that from the sending side, you're doing the right things on top of, you know, once you figured it out, once you kind of unravel that stuff, it's a lot of just paying respect to that process and how they're doing it from the sender side. So knowing and understanding that. I wrote this down on my notes just here a few minutes ago as earning the right to send for email marketers. Like, you really got to do the right thing first in order to get the good result. And I love his perspective on that also. And really the other thing that we wanted to talk about was, like, you know, getting that push out for people that are trying to get their companies to do deliverability type actions. And a lot of times it includes like cutting a list. Sometimes it's like, you know, having good list hygiene and removing some addresses from what you're doing, but continuing to do those kind of things to get a good result is one of those things that definitely helps out. So, but just to expand a little bit, I know you don't get the full context of it. We get to have a lot of these conversations with these people behind the scenes and kind of getting their perspective on a lot of these things. So this is the quick summary, but we can help illuminate a little bit about what they're talking about here, hopefully, and unravel some of that too.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Dang, that's pretty powerful. Earn the right to send.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis, we're gonna keep saying that. So I'll give you credit though.
We're like that was my summary of his words. So there's got to be like dual credit going on.
Yeah, there you go. Let's put on a shirt, Thomas. Let's hit some shirts now. Hey, we got rid of all our shirts. Let's do some new ones.
We did.
Sorry for everybody who didn't get one.
3 boxes full of shirts, and we had a little office that we had them all set up, and it looked like a nightclub to get into our office because it was just like. Everyone wanted a shirt, so thanks for everyone for grabbing one. Well, we're going to try and come up with a new one soon, so stay tuned. But
Damn.
All right, moving down the line for our next clip. Let's see. Eric, what's this one up?
Yeah, we got Claire Moore, Principal Product Manager from Yahoo. Always great to see her. Actually, I say that, and I've seen her in so many circles and been adjacent to her, but I've never like gotten to witness her firsthand, so it was cool. I know that, Thomas, you moderated her panel with Travis, so unfortunately I wasn't able to see it there, but
it was good stuff.
It was good stuff. Right on. I wouldn't doubt you. But we got a couple moments to talk with her here, so let's check that out.
All right, Inbox Expo 2025. Here we go. Thea, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Cleo Moore from Yahoo Mail. I'm a product manager over there. Yeah, super excited to be chatting with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for chatting with us. And we just want to know, what's your takeaway so far from Inbox Expo 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that, well, obviously, as we know, email's not dead.
Yeah.
It's alive and well. And that, the space is evolving. And there's lots of new signals available, lots of new things that we should be adopting in terms of standards. So excited to see the energy around that, and that people are really investing in that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and that's actually one of the things that we wanted to kind of know and get your take on it. And we know that the space has evolved and Microsoft is kind of jumping in on the fold. Like, so just kind of your takeaway on that and, how you're feeling about that. Like, anything you'd want to comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're all fighting the same battle, so it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm glad that they've joined the party.
Yeah. It's good to have more people. When you have the right kind of party, it's great. When it's the wrong kind of party, we don't want that. But
true.
Definitely one of the things. And I think overall, like when we talk about the sender side in general, like what do you really want people to do and focus on in 2025? Is there any particular thing or just in general that you might be seeing?
Yeah, I would say don't wait for the next stage of like enforcement, right? Go and look at our pages, right? Our help pages. We've got all the information there that you need to know in terms of best practices and standards that we look at. So get ahead of the game, look at that list, and make sure that you're complying with those things.
I love it. Thank you so much for talking with us. It was a quick hit, but we'll come back and we'll hopefully talk soon again.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Nice, dude. In and out, like that's so funny. You even mentioned really too, super quick.
Well, we knew we were kind of like, I mean, intruding on people's time. We're trying to just get a moment of that and not to be too obtrusive to what they were trying to do is overall in the conference. Because it's, for those who haven't been, I'm sure like many people who are in email have never been to one of those conferences, but it's a good networking opportunity as well. So like, everybody wants a piece of your time. Just real quick, a moment that we got to be with her. So, and respect that. But, again, focusing on that same thing, enforcement, and that's kind of the theme of 2025 and like what we're seeing come out of that. And I know with them, like specifically with what Yahoo's doing, they worked a lot. I know they worked a lot on it. We were in a lot of those rooms where they were talking about it and start putting the information out there along with Google for doing the new type of enforcement, getting those rules set up. And then now that has matured for a whole year and continuing to evolve. Like we've seen even now, like this is one of the good opportunities we can talk about things that have continued to evolve because Google has now officially updated with some new parameters on that same authentication piece where it's not only just about authentication. Now it's about, who you say you are when you are sending that message in the friendly from field as well. So not just the normal authentication piece, the actual piece that matters. Now a little bit more of that forward facing part where they want better visibility into who is sending, and then also subject lines. Subject lines are now the next big thing too, right? Let's cut down on even more of that spam. Let's make sure that you're representing what is truly within the email and enforcing that as like the next step. And goes right into what Clay was saying is that don't wait for this next thing, like start doing that today. And then as you continue, as you talk to those emails experts, as you listen to hopefully we're bringing some of that to you and explaining those things, because this is not something that's new. It's not something that's coming up just out of the blue. This is something that we've said before, something that we tell the people that we're in connections with. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. And if you aren't doing it yet, now's the time. Don't wait any longer, and then find out what that next thing is and what the next trend is and what you really should be doing to be a good email citizen, and start doing that today.
Right. Yeah, man. Like I'm speaking with Marcel and before, this is kind of like what they've been just trying to do for the past, 10 years. Like it's been on the roadmap, like for them to kind of push forward and for them to do that, have Microsoft jumped in, making further updates, again, being truthful. Who are you? Authenticate, just doing all the right things to be a sender, it's just great to see, and further enforcement of what we've been saying. So
yeah,
awesome.
It's also cool to hear. It's like, hey, they're like, and you're hearing from the source. They're like, hey, don't wait on us. Like, you need to do this now. It's for the greater good. It's for everybody. I mean, no matter what. So.
Yeah. I'd like to see Google and Microsoft at some of these events more. Yeah. Maybe they are there.
Just call them out like that, huh?
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, we've talked to Marcel plenty. Yeah. We've talked to we
anybody
just
from Google in the room.
Yeah. We should just start calling them out too. Just
show me your badge.
Yeah. No. I mean, we've had them on as well. In the past,
and they've been to some of those events, and they do attend. So, but it is nice to get to hear it from them directly whenever we do get the opportunity, because I mean that's who's running the thing, and I feel for them because I feel sometimes they are just saying the same things over and over and over again, and people are just not listening. So I think that's where we can also help close that gap.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny you say that, because I was having this conversation the other day, and like people are like, "Oh yeah, you kind of have to keep saying this stuff over and over again because that's our job to teach, no matter what." To keep, But anyway, we got another clip lined up. Trinidad actually introduced this one and hosted this one. Eric, you want to talk about it really quick?
Oh yeah, Naomi West from Customer.io. She's the senior product manager from there as well. So I've seen Customer.io a bunch
on the show.
Yeah. So it was great to also talk with her again and just have some of this FaceTime as well. So let's keep it on that. Hey, and welcome back to Inbox Expo 2025. Here I am with Naomi West. Naomi, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty great, thanks. Well, we've been here all week, just kind of hanging out, learning things, talking about deliverability, what's coming up, what's been going on, just kind of like email in general. Yeah, how have you enjoyed it so far?
I've loved it. I feel like these events are so refreshing to get to see people in person and meet people officially for the first time and just kind of get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Your own strategy.
Yeah, for sure. What are some things that you think people should be looking at coming up this year in 2025?
I think not being afraid to test new things. Obviously, we've had a lot of conversations over the past day or two around AI, and I think a lot of people are scared of it, but there's some pretty great use cases, and I just want to see people challenging their own biases a little bit more and kind of stepping out of their own comfort zone to see what their audience actually wants.
Yeah, right on. Great. What do you think makes a good sender, and what do you think senders should be doing better?
Being open to replies. Yeah. I hate a no reply, and I do understand how when you get to an enterprise level maybe list of 1 million people, how supporting a reply to address can be difficult, but some of the replies that I've received as a sender over my career have changed the product that I'm working on, changed emails because of maybe typos that have slipped through, and just been incredibly eye-opening. So if you can, try and support a reply address, and you'll be really surprised at what comes back.
Yeah, well, right on. Well, great advice. Thank you. Naomi, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one.
Thanks for having me.
She's also touched on what Travis did as well, is just testing stuff, getting out there, just seeing what works and not afraid to put yourself out there and see what the results will come back with.
Man, I feel like Randy Quaid in Independence Day. I've been saying this for years.
What, you were taken by aliens and experimented?
I was taken by aliens.
Yeah.
You crop dusted the wrong field?
Yeah. I've been in the office with you. You've done plenty of crop dusting, sir.
No replies.
Oh, yeah.
No reply email addresses. Goodness gracious. I feel like I can't say it enough. I feel like every single person that I've talked to about stuff, whenever I immediately see it, I'm like, stop it. You got to put in a reply address. It's so much more beneficial to have a reply address. Yeah, you might have to man a mailbox somewhere, and you might have to, pay a little bit more attention to it. But man, it helps out with so many things. One, you get feedback. 2, creates another point of interaction. 3, ISPs like to see when there's interaction with an email address that's sending, and people always no reply. Unmanned mailbox. Why? Don't do it. Don't do it, people. Even the aliens came back. So don't.
They followed that reply to address.
Flew his jet into the mothership and took one for the team.
He's back.
Man. Yeah. Sorry, I had to go on that little mini rant that triggered me again.
Yeah, we're close to the 4th, so it's definitely top of mind always. I never quote the second one. I don't think there's anything to quote from the second one.
I never saw the second one.
You're not missing anything.
Thanks.
But I think that's awesome, man. I think no replies, definitely, it hurts me. I actually just experienced this the other day where I got a really important email from the county and I needed to get some more information, and they just didn't have an active reply to address. And I was like, but I have so many questions.
It's funny. This is not the first time we have called out Bexar County for email strategy.
Oh no! I'm gonna get my lights shut off. The power grid's already just being barely held onto. So
they're 100-degree.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. No, I think that's good, and excited to see just kind of throwing yourself out there again. Test and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get some feedback. I think any feedback is a gift, regardless, good or bad. So, take it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Who else do we got? Right. What's the last one? We have one more.
Last clip. Jacqueline. She was really cool.
Jacqueline Thomas, do it.
Yeah. So this last one's Jacqueline Friedman. She was really cool, really good to us. So many takeaways from her. She didn't actually do a session, but she's so well known in the community. So it was really cool to finally meet her and stuff like that. But this is Jacqueline Friedman, the CEO of Monarch Advisory Partners and head of advisory for the Martech Weekly. She gets to work alongside a lot of our other good friends, for example, like Kelly Haggard and people like that, who's actually been on the podcast before. So yeah, let's get that clip queued up, shall we?
Yeah, good people, man. Good people. Welcome back. We're here again at Inbox Expo 2025 with Jacqueline. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I am sad it's day 3. It's almost over, but it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah. What has been your best session or something that you really enjoyed so far?
Well, first of all, the people. It's so nice to see your fellow geeks and nerds, and all of us are in the same space, thinking the same things, and it's very validating. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
In terms of my favorite session, I really love the deliverability panel. It was really in-depth. There were actionable items. You really got some takeaways so far. There's more to come, and a couple of friends speaking too, more to come, but one of the best sessions so far.
Right on, right on. What do you think, speaking of those takeaways, what do you think centers should be doing, closing out 2025? We're here mid-2025, getting ready to close it out. What do you think they should be doing?
Ooh, that's a good question. Of course, get all your back-end stuff sorted. You got to do your DMARC, your SPF, your DKIM. But beyond that, you really need to be building your trust. And it's not just with the providers as the back-end work, but it's with your customer. You're not focused on consent-based marketing. You're not going to get in the inbox. You're not going to get the revenue, the goals, the achievements you want. So focus on trust and privacy, and that's how you'll win.
Right on. Consent, always good. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, get consent. That's right.
Because no means no matter the context.
Yeah. Jacqueline, thank you so much. Well, right on. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and hopefully we'll see you again around here soon.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think all good stuff again, just continuing on authentication. Say who you are, say where you're coming from.
And that trust.
And create that trust, man.
Yeah. Permission has always been a thing. It's always been, I think, the thing that's been our wish that people would do that would make things just a heck of a lot easier overall. I think that's just one of those things where it's like, if you start there, then it makes every single other thing down the line just a heck of a lot easier. Just, do you want my stuff? Okay, here's my stuff. Not just hey, I think you want our stuff. Like, here's all of our stuff. And that just makes a big difference in how things operate. And it's just, come around full circle to, now that it's a hot topic again, as it will continue to be, I'm sure. It's nice to see. And I really appreciate people coming out and talking about it, because the more we unite, the more we get that messaging out there, the better the email landscape becomes. And I think that's super important because, we want the podcast name to remain true. Email's not dead. So that's one of the things we need to do collectively.
Even just this past week, like, we were seeing folks out there in the community just trying to get information about how they could be better cold email senders. How, hey, I just bought this list, and what's a good way that I can send out like a million messages or something? Like, see, so about that,
That hurts. That cuts straight to the core.
Right. And that's not the kind of community that we're kind of trying to cultivate. Okay, great. We all have a job to do. We all want to get out these messages. We want to reach our target audience, but we got to do it right. And there's a right way, and there's definitely a wrong way. And, and we're trying to steer you in the best way possible,
You know how many times you've been in your inbox and you get an email from someone, especially like a big brand or like maybe like a medium-sized brand. I can't think of anything at the moment right now, but sometimes you get an email from someone and you're like, how did I get this in the first place? And then you kind of go to the headers or the bottom and you kind of see and they kind of put like, you're receiving this email because you bought something from us, whatever time frame. And then you think to that moment, like, oh, did this person, did they get acquired? Is that why I'm part of this list? You kind of have this moment of like thinking back, like, when did this happen?
How?
Like, yeah. How to wrap this up? We only got a few minutes left here, but we wanted to talk about our favorite sessions and possible honorable mentions real quick. JT, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite sessions, there were a lot of favorites, but I think definitely the one that hit home the most is just for people, a cautionary take. The name of the session explains it all. So why your customers hate AI and why you should tread cautiously. It really is one of those things. It was presented by Evan Diaz, Chief Creative Officer at RPG Origin, and it really is one of those things where AI is being pushed, I think, so heavily in so many different markets, in so many different places of work. It, really is what it comes down to. And yes, it makes a lot of things easier. It makes a lot of people's lives easier. It makes things more efficient, but it is also one of those things that there is a lot of pushback. I'm one of them. I don't necessarily like the technology in every single place. And I think it's so new and it's so at the beginning and starting place of all this stuff. We don't know how to use it yet. We don't really know the way it's going to happen. And yet every company is like, hey, AI, and we're doing AI to do this, and AI is doing that, and we're going to utilize it to make everybody's life the dream in the future. Cool. Let's get there in a cautious way. Let's be careful with how we're using it. We've already seen horror stories. We've seen emails go out that were written completely by AI, and there was just complete lashback on those companies. And be careful. Be careful how it's being advertised. Be careful on how it's being utilized. Be careful where you're saying you're doing it, because not everybody's a fan. And until we can adopt more to this technology and we can bring it in as one of the tool sets, not the forefront tool set that's going to be making all our decisions and doing things for us, like I think it needs to be paid respect, and people really, really should tread cautiously.
Yeah, nice. For sure, man, for sure. And your honorable mention?
I'll say that too. Yeah, it was state-of-the-art strategies for B2B2C production communications. The football people, and I'll say football, not soccer, because they were out of Germany. So it's the German football league that is really doing a lot of cool things. They're using their own platform. There's a platform over there that's doing a lot of things with them. But what I really liked about the session is that it was a lot more than just, hey, here's how we do email and what's going on with email. It was really a celebration of working together across the board between the email sending side and the customer. And I think that just creates a beautiful harmony whenever you can have a customer that wants to do the right thing, that they recognize they want the right thing to happen and they want to improve on their email, but then they listen to the consulting side and do a lot of the things, but then say what's working, what isn't, like how they're structured. And then you can get that feedback back and forth in both directions, like, adopting where you can, changing what you can, doing those right things. And it just created this beautiful harmony, and they are doing very, very well for themselves within their email program, like seeing things flourish. And it's really, really, really good. Like, and I enjoyed that story. I enjoyed the production of their slide sets and everything. Like, it's a beautiful really cool presentation.
Dennis and Bjorn. Dennis from Bundesliga. That's the Germany's top professional football team. That was fascinating.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, Dennis Gillespie and Bjorn Kjørster.
Yeah.
Good guys. Right on. Yeah, I guess mine were like right out of the gate, probably best session. It was the one that opened it up right after we hyped up the crowd, or actually Thomas hyped up the crowd. I think we just took all in.
We were along for the ride.
Yeah. we're just trying to hold on, just like on the back of like Falcor, just just on the ride for it. But Chad White, man, open it up, Chad S. White's been on the show plenty of times. We got him right before he dropped his latest edition of Email Marketing Rules. So I think it was just great to see him. He always has like a lot of great tips, and just, his presentations are, I felt like engaging and just like so chock full of knowledge. Like I think everybody was like trying to take pictures as much as they could and trying to take notes as
informative.
As much as they could, for sure. So yeah, I think always great to see him there. So if you have a chance, definitely check out his latest volume, the Email Marketing Rules. And then the other one that I say my honorable mention really quick is the Unspoken Truth About Email, which was Tyler Dink, the CEO of Beehive. I think just because of his drive, he was saying like right out of college, he jumped into like creating applications and getting his business started. And I know right out of college, I was just like, oh man, I got a lot of debt. Like, let me go work at a bar, try to get into it. So I think it was just more of his drive than anything else to get the company started and kind of have that backing. So that's why I felt like he was my honorable mention. But yeah, that's it for me. Thomas, what did you like? What did you have on your top?
Oh man, I loved, my favorite panel was the hot text and deliverability, separating fact from fiction, that was presented by Jennifer Lance, Clea Moore from Yahoo, Raymond, I can't pronounce his last name, I'm so sorry. I think it's DeJorn. And then Travis Hazelwood, our own bud, had Deliverbit Ortho. It was just good it reminds me of like a super group or like a Justice League or anything. Just like you see all these people coming together, and you hear us talking about it earlier, like, oh, why are we talking about these rules over and over again? Because like it's the rules. It's the lay of the land. It's changing. Our industry is 30 to 40 years old. We've been following these, obviously guidelines and stuff like that the last 30 to 40 years. But technology's changing. AI is introduced now. There's so many different things. There's more authentication that's coming down the line, and we're trying to prevent bad actors from getting into the space. So it's always nice to see like a super group come together and be like, all right, like, these are the metrics that we're all looking at. This is all the authentication that we're all looking at for the rest of the year. Like, what are you seeing? Okay, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. So it's like, okay, coming together and keep preaching that stuff. So I love it.
I thought it was crazy, man, that they had y'all like in a smaller room. I thought, they would have you in the Hall of Justice, essentially. With all those.
You guys keep mentioning like things that are outside of music. I felt like we were just doing so good about like being in a music theme. Like, there's so many super groups out there, Thomas, that I'm sure you know exactly who it is. Like, of all these artists that are getting together and like.
I always think of it like, it's like all the spammers are like, oh, meanwhile at the Legion of Spam. I feel like when they get together, that's what they're doing.
Right, I get it. All right. I like that.
So. Is there a spammers conference? And or they just talk about like bad ways of doing things?
Don't give them the idea.
Yeah. If there is, we don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
Right on. It's like in the Dark Knight when they're all meeting in that kitchen, like in daylight, because they're afraid of Batman.
Oh yeah.
The Joker's like, I know why you meet in daylight, because you don't want him to come hang, like, crash the party. But anyway, and then my honorable mention was the startup pitches. And what that was pretty much, we had Kevin from Sano.ai. He won last year. He was helping out this year for the pitches and stuff like that. And then there was another entrepreneur,
Jimmy Kim.
Jimmy, yeah, that's what it was. He was an Austin, Texas local. He's been in the email space for a long time too, as well. Yeah, he's an email founder and investor.
Yeah, he's an investor who's kind of doing it for these companies and doing it stuff like that. Like that was really cool.
Oh
yeah. So it was like Mailizer was in there, Flowproof.ai. So it's kind of cool to see like what other email geeks and possible email entrepreneurs are thinking about for the future and the current space and stuff like that, and trying to see what they're trying to change in the game. So it was exciting. It was really cool stuff to see. So
yeah, very cool.
But yeah, big thanks to Matt Vernout and Scott Hardegree from Email Industries, but Matt too for thinking about us and asking us to help out with this event. So, but they're coming on as our next guest, right? They'll be talking about Bimmy and updates, stuff like that, but also that Matt represents the Bimmy group. So excited to have him on here in the future. So
yeah, that's gonna be awesome, man. Always good talking to Matt. I barely got to talk with him. I felt there at the conference, just kind of running around.
Lunch.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, that's for sure. I think at the beginning, I talked to him a bunch because I guess I forgot to register there, but he hooked me up.
Yeah, that was fun to find out. Right when we got there.
Like, I'm supposed to be introducing everybody. Sorry,
I'm hosting your event, but I forgot to register for the whole thing.
Yeah, that was
like an Almost Famous. I'm only the lead singer.
Yeah, I can see how you could overlook this. Yeah,
almost didn't even get a badge.
Yeah. Oh man,
that would have been funny.
But yeah, good stuff. We're looking forward to talking to Matt again. Always great to see him and have him on the show. And yeah, and hopefully we'll get to do another event like this soon. It'd be great to get out there and rub elbows with all these fine people.
It's good. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait till Matt comes on again. I know he's been, is it the third time coming on? Second time? I feel like we've had him multiple times, but maybe I'm just imagining it. I know we had him at least once.
It's only going to be his second, I think. Yeah, it's been like 6 or 7 years.
That's terrible. He's ready to come on. I know we're ready to have him on, so it'll be a good conversation, like no matter what.
I think the 5th appearance, you get a jacket. I think work on that. But yeah, man. Yeah. All right. Well, Thomas, I guess if the people want to see like other stuff that we've seen our episodes with Matt and Chad and all the fine folks or anything like that, where can they find us?
You can go to mailgun.com/resources/podcasts. And you can also go to youtube.com/@mailgun. Both those URLs you can watch and listen to our podcast as well. We're on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify Music and Spotify Podcasts as well. So yeah, make sure you're listening.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out. Until next time. Yeah. That's it.
Adios.
Adios.
This has been a production of Cinch Mailgun. Learn more at mailgun.com.